All right, today we have another Pittsburgh native joining us as a guest. He's coached on every side of collegiate baseball from NAIA Division One, Two, and Three, and played collegiate ball pretty locally around at Thiel College. Jim Chester. Jim, thanks for joining us.
No, thank you. I'm honored. This is awesome. Like I said, I fired up to join a couple more Western Pennsylvania Yinzers and kind of talk some baseball. So it's it's few and far between for me where I'm at now. There's not a ton of Pittsburgh guys, so it's fun to kind of jump on here and talk some baseball.
Absolutely.
We got to welcome another special guest, your daughter Marin too. I saw her.
Yeah, she'll be popping her head in and out. Where you at, baby? There she is. She likes to make guest appearances once in a while. So
right.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll get started. Just for our viewers to hear a little bit about yourself. Just kind of want to hear your backstory.
Yeah, sure. Like real quick, I born and raised in the McKeesport area, Pennsylvania. Obviously played baseball. Went to Sarah Catholic High School. Had a great experience, and then I went to Thiel College. Played 4 years there. Was a great experience for me. My head coach is still there, Coach Joe Shawley. I forget, my freshman year we won 10 games or something, and then our senior year we won the PAC tournament and had a really good season. And it was one of those things that my college coach told me at the end of the year, like, hey Jim, like you should get into college coaching. I'll never forget. I mean, I thank him all the time. I was on a path to be a teacher and a coach, and kind of wanted to live in Pittsburgh my whole life, and try to win a WPIAL title and all that stuff. And he said you should get into this, and I did. And I was graduate assistant at Seton Hill, and then from there I spent a brief time at Point Park, and then I became the head coach at Mercyhurst Northeast Junior College, and up in the Erie area, Pennsylvania. And then from there I ended up at Penn State Greater Allegheny, in McKeesport back home. And I was there 7 years as head baseball coach and admissions counselor and athletic director through that time. And then from there, I was blessed. I got the head job at Lock Haven for 3 seasons. And then my wife and I decided we wanted to get to some warmer weather, and the job at Barton College opened up in Wilson, North Carolina, and was there for 2 seasons. And we had a pretty good run there our last year. And this job opened up at Gardner-Webb, and they approached me, and I wasn't particularly looking for a job, but we got some awesome things here that hopefully I can share a little bit more in depth. And here I am. The Lord led us to Boiling Springs, North Carolina. So
awesome.
It's been a long journey from Glassport, Pennsylvania to Boiling Springs, North Carolina, but life of a coach.
Right, man. And tell you that's incredible to me, because you kind of are a prime example of someone coming out of pro college ball, wants to get into coaching. Probably 95% of them aren't going to jump right into a D1 job. You got to start. You got to start low. You worked. I mean, it seems like every job went like this and went up and up and up, and now here you are, head coach, Division I school, Gardner-Webb. I just wanted to kind of ask and hear your thoughts on the coaching process and like how to do that. Is it based on strictly success? Is it right place, right time? What do you think?
Well, timing's a huge piece.
Right.
It's a huge piece. And, and I also, obviously, I think the big word with this is sacrifice.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like a lot of like ladder moving, glamour and all that, but like, I try to explain that, I didn't make any money for, 4 years. I mean, I worked as, this is no joke. I mean, I was an overnight stock person at Toys R Us.
Wow.
I worked as a TSS, which was a therapeutic staff service person. I did some of that stuff during the day. I helped run the concession area at PNC Park and Heinz Field for Pirate and Steeler games. I would go down and work all those home games. I'm telling you, my tax person some of those years was really frustrated. I had like 9 W-2s, but it was just so I could coach. It was just so I could coach, and kept trying to keep the dream alive. And, I wasn't the prototypical, I wasn't a pro player, so I didn't carry any of that. I didn't have, I played Division III baseball, which I'm extremely proud of. And I celebrate to a lot of kids that are out there because it's a great experience. And, and those programs have even gotten better in Western Pennsylvania with the W&Js and a lot of those play. I mean, they're awesome. It's an awesome level. So it wasn't like I could step in and be like, look, hey, I did that. I had to kind of start at the bottom and work my way up. And
Right.
and I was like, and it was kind of like me as a player too. Like, I mean, I was never, I was pretty good maybe for glass sport, but I wasn't like as far in the big spectrum. I wasn't, I kind of had to earn what I got, and I'm good with that. And that kind of lives with me today. I mean, I just like, everywhere I've been, we've kind of been the underdog. I mean, every program we've been at, it's Penn State Greater Allegheny was, they had 0 wins the year before we got there, and we were able to do some great things there. It was an awesome experience. Going into Lock Haven, they were coming off a 5-win season. My first, this is the one thing I always try to share with people because, I've been blessed to be around some 30-win seasons.
Right.
My first year at Barton, we went 12-36. So I know how lonely a dugout is. I had to lose games too. So trust me, there's a piece to that. But there's also a hunger and a want to build from, something or nothing to something. And that's kind of what happened. We had at Barton. We went from 12 wins to I think 31 or 32 the second year. And Gardner-Webb's got a decent tradition here. So it's gonna be fun to just see how far we can go here. And that fire's still in my belly to just keep going. And when I don't have that, I'll know I need to get out and do something else.
That grind mentality, man. You got it.
to. It's what it's all about.
And that gets built from as soon as you get into this sport as a player. Because if you're not sacrificing as a player, then you're not going to make it past high school, because there's that sacrificing mentality. Like you said, it starts as a player, and then if you want to continue within, you're going to have to sacrifice after, because nothing in this sport's given to you. If you think you can just wake up, go to the field, and hit 500, that's not going to happen unless you're a Mike Trout out there, which I don't see there many people like that.
No, I mean, there's sacrifice and grind and everything that you do. I share all the time because you work all these things, or you have these type of interviews and different things. And I get some guys that go like, oh, you don't understand like what we have to do. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, when I was at Greater Allegheny, like every day, I'm being dead serious. If number one, this is true. Helen Ritchie Field in McKeesport, okay, which is a skin infield. Every morning we'd have a flock of geese that would come over and do some business on it. Yeah. We had to go out there and shovel it off every day to practice. And if we couldn't get it done, we had to go use the parking lot above our gym, which bases were painted on. So like, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I'm not saying like, I try not to be that guy like, oh, I know I've done everything or anything, but when it comes to some of that nonsense, like, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, I did it. And, and I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. And I love those kids that were there and did those things with us. I mean, like, they were just blue collar and like, you know what I mean? They were those type of kids. And, I love them to this day. Like, it was, I wouldn't trade any of that for anything. I think it just kind of makes, who you are as a person and what you do.
For sure.
Right. I think Mick and I can relate to the geese story a little bit. We grew up with a baseball field in our backyard that our dad built, and there was a pond next door, and they'd come in all the time and just.
You get it then, right? Yeah.
We get it. I hear you there, man.
Oh yeah, I have got a lot of, and that's not even talking about dealing with the elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these kids now have no idea how good they have it. Like, we get these guys that come in and they've played for all these different organizations, and I'm not saying it's a great thing, but like, every weekend, like in the Carolinas here, kids have an opportunity that they like play on Friday at UNC, on Saturday at Duke, and then on Sunday at ECU. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I just like, I was like, they were asking, like, I get the question all the time from our guys, like, where'd you play, coach? And I was like, yeah, I played for, Liberty Borough Legion, like, you know what I mean? And I had, I didn't play on a grass infield till I was about 15. So like, but that's,
and now everything up here is all turf, as you know.
Up north, turning turf.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
You have to, or you won't get your season in.
No, you won't play. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. There's some great things going on. Finally, too, like even when I was, we're only going back 5 or 6 years when I was at Lock Haven, like, some people were getting the turf in different areas, and it was making big differences in their programs. And I saw now IUP, Slippery Rock. Obviously, Cal's been on turf, and Seton Hill's got great facility, and it's awesome to see there's some investment, because the level of baseball in the PSAC a lot of times didn't match the facilities. It wasn't close.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Next question here for you, Jim, is kind of want to pick your brain a little bit, because you have the history behind you of being a part of, all the way from your playing till today, of being a part of a program that's very successful at, like you said, turning the program around, where, like you mentioned, your first year at Thiel, you guys had 10 wins, and by the end of your collegiate career, the success you had going into being assistant coach at Seton Hill, where it was the first year the program was started, and then the success that Maz has had through that career, and you being part of that start, all the way to, like you said, your start at Lock Haven, where the first season was 13-24 underneath you. You guys finished 32-18 your last. At Barton, started 12-36, second year 31-20. Kind of, what do you think that takes to turn a program around? And
a lot of turnarounds there, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, first and foremost, it's not me. It's not. It never has been. There's a lot of ego in this business. There's a lot of, listen, and there's no doubt you got to have some, confidence. You got to have some, what's the word, like in regards to, feeling like you have an idea of what you're doing and how it'll go about. But the first thing is to have an understanding. It takes a village. It takes a village. And that's from day one. I feel like every year I've coached, I've had the best staff in the country. I feel like that right now. I felt like that everywhere I've been. And you're only as good as those guys. And there's just a buy-in from top to bottom that we're all under one mission, one goal. And there's just a love for the process and a love for the grind, and having an understanding of being blue collar, and knowing that, what you're only going to get out of it, what you put into it. And we're going to work really hard at what we do. We're going to put a precedence on, making sure that we develop on a daily basis. We're going to make sure that we're carrying ourselves in the right manner. There's a long list of things. It's not me. I mean, it's the players, and it's our job to get them to buy in and have an understanding that they're selfless, relentless, and blue collar. That's huge in what we do, and that hasn't changed. Like I do the same things here at Gardner-Webb as I did at Greater Allegheny. I mean, I'm not saying there's not some variations, and that we've definitely grown as coaches and been able to, trial and error things, but it's all about the players. And I think that's the big part, is that, we try to become, it's player based. I mean, cause at the end of the day, it's really about them. I could care less. I mean this from my heart, about any award, our record, and none of that is become such a back burner to me, especially the last 5 or 6 years. I'm just all about like the player experience, the guys, the development in regards to competition and how to compete and how to fight. That a lot of that is important to me. And I just think when you get that type of stuff and you got everybody kind of tunneled in on that one end, that's when you're able to do things that you've never been able to accomplish before. I've never had a team that was like, had a ton of highly ranked, you know what I mean, or all that stuff that goes on. We don't look at any of that. I mean, we're looking for, the invisible, what the hunger, the will to compete, all those type of things. And I think as coaches, we've gotten better over the years, where I feel like I've had some of those guys. And when I find a player that reminds me of one of those guys, like we're all over it, as far as that goes.
No, you nailed. I mean, that's some of the best advice you can give anyone, like taking the wins, taking the awards, throw those on the back burner, worry about the process, fall in love with the process. Like, think about it like a well and then a faucet. Fix the well before you kind of let the faucet run how you want it to. That's anything, not just baseball, not just coaching. That's life itself. Right. So that's great advice.
Yeah. No, I mean, day one, we tell our guys, like, listen, forget about the Twitter, forget about the Instagram, throw it all aside. Like, how good do you want to be is all going to be dependent on when nobody's watching, looking at any of this stuff. You know what I mean? That's you know what I mean? And it's some of that's a little old fashioned, I guess, in some ways, or whatever it might be. But, I don't know. It's just kind of worked everywhere I've been.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm the oldest guy around, and I've probably made the most mistakes of everybody in our group. So I just kind of just help. I think like I just tell our guys all the time, hey, listen, I tried that. I screwed it up. We should do this, so that's
Hey,
kind of how we operate.
Oldest guy around or not, you've had some good success, and it seems like mistakes or not, you've learned how to move it forward. So that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. No doubt.
Sure. I got a question here for you about, so we've talked to a couple different coaches lately, and something we're just trying to get out to players, high school guys that want to come in, especially during this crazy time, but not even just this crazy time. What do you look for in recruitment in a general census? So many coaches have so many different things. They check boxes. They want to make sure. If you're looking at seniors or juniors in high school that you want to possibly bring in, what are some things you want to check off?
Well, first and foremost, we take a lot of put a lot of importance on body type.
Okay.
And when I say that, I'm not saying that every guy's got to be 6'4", 220 and looking like Aaron Judge or something. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we need young men that love the weight room, or that they love that they want to be in the best shape that they possibly can be.
Right.
And everybody's different as far as that goes. So my thing is, if we've got to really ingrain that and teach that, or try to let them become motivated in that way, it's a struggle for me personally.
Right.
So, and again, that doesn't mean you can't be 160 pounds or 150 pounds and not care about, you can tell. You can tell by the way the kid moves, the way he looks on some ways that, hey, listen, this kid cares about the big picture, the full body of work on that end. So, that's important to me. It's important to me, especially how does the kid dress on the field? How does he look? How does he move around the field? How does he how does he take IO? I know that sounds kind of silly, but
presentability.
I'm
right?
it's all those intangible type things. You know what I mean? That they're going to happen. How does that player react to failure? That's important to me. We just, I don't want to spend a lot of time self-motivating guys to want to do, the little things. And, I think, and I really believe you can be around a young man just enough times, or just see enough and pick that up pretty quick on how that works. Again, we don't put a ton of value into rankings. I'm not telling you that exit velo and mile per hours and some of that, it's definitely a piece, but there's a lot of guys in those certain areas. And how do you kind of filter through how you want to do it, what you want to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, I just had a phone call. I've had a bunch of them over the last couple of days, so no one could but I had a kid tell me, a kid say to me, look, my decision is solely based on playing time. It's solely based if I'm going to play every day. And I said to him, I was like, son, I can't tell you that today. And I probably never will. So this might not be the right fit for you.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of the world we're in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
100%.
You gotta straight shoot them.
Yeah. And that's
no doubt.
And and something like that is going back, because I'm involved in some youth baseball now with a local organization, and I forget where I saw it, but somebody kind of pointed out where when certain parents sometimes see that their kid's not hitting leadoff, playing shortstop, they take their kid out of that organization and move them to another one to get that in. That's eliminating the process of competition, because when you get to college, it's not like that. It's not like, hey, you're going to be our shortstop day one as a freshman. It's, hey, man, there's 40 kids here. You got to earn your stripes. You got to put in the work. You got to prove us you're one of those top 9 guys that I can trust out there. You're not just going to walk into this role. And I think that needs to be put into kids at a young age, where if you're not the starting shortstop, leadoff hitter, 3-hitter, whatever you want to be, well, work harder, because you can get there. You just got to put in the work.
No doubt. That's when I left the office yesterday. There was over 1,700 players in the transfer portal for this right now. So, it's 100% what's going on. And the biggest piece, and I've ran into this everywhere I've been, every level, is that, there are no relief pitchers in so many ways. There aren't any pinch runners. There's no such thing as a defensive replacement.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no
right.
pinch hitters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no kind of maturation to that to kind of like to build up for that. So you're right. I mean, listen, the transfer portal and all that is started a while ago, and it starts at a kid at a young age. You're right. I see it too. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that have children and these things and ask me questions, and I don't think they like the answer sometimes when I say stick it out, figure it out. You know what I mean? And because listen, baseball's the worst. Like, first of all, everybody played it. Okay. Like, I go on my street here, like, it's amazing. Like, I meet my neighbors and they're like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, well, I'm the baseball head coach at Gardner-Webb. And they're like, that's cool. Like, they think I order t-shirts all day. You know what I mean? So like, but I'm saying, like, but then it's like, oh, I play, you know what I mean? Everyone played, right? Like, I mean, everybody played. And then now even more, everybody coaches.
Yeah.
And so immediately, like, it's like they have such an you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And
totally.
it's comical. It's comical to me because it's like, Mr. So-and-so sits in the stands and watches the team play, and his son isn't playing as much or the position that he wants. And he goes, this isn't that hard, because baseball is extremely difficult, right? We know that as players and coaches and different things. I mean, it's difficult to the people that know how to think it, but the rules are simple. It's simple to follow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people, they just go and do it. You know what I mean? They pick up and make their own team because they think they can just do it. And it's just, I don't even engage in any of that. I just, I find it comical now. I used to get not fired up, but I'd be like, you have no idea. I just laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is funny because everyone also used to throw 92 in high school. If you haven't.
Yeah. Give me, come on. Give me a break.
No.
Well, Jim, we appreciate you hopping on. Thanks for joining us. I think this was great to pick a mind of someone like yourself who been in the game and has been able to grow and have the success that you've had. One last question. You think if the stars align and the timing's right, you think getting in within professional baseball's in the books for you?
I don't know. I'm not sure that's the I will tell you, I've got a young family. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come home every night and be at home. No, I really do. So I don't mean that like, I just don't know if I'd go that route. I really don't.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm built for that. I'm more of like I said, I love the culture piece. I love the, you know what I mean? I love the college atmosphere. I love all that. And, and I enjoy the opportunity. Like I said, I really enjoy the opportunity to, be able to, we live close to campus. I can make our schedule, you know what I mean? And I can still be a dad and a husband. So that's
100%.
So I probably, I'm not telling you if the Pirates call, maybe I would entertain being a manager. I don't know, but I doubt that would ever happen, but I'm just saying but I enjoy our lifestyle. So it'd be tough though. It'd be tough.
Yeah.
Right, man. Work-life balance. Totally.
Yeah. Well,
amen. No doubt about it. And that wasn't always the case for me. Trust me. As I got older, you start understanding what's really important. You know what I mean? And shoveling the goose manure wasn't as important as
Exactly.
No, but we look forward to kind of watching you and Gardner-Webb through this journey here, and hope the most success for you as you continue forward.
Yeah. Same to you guys. Thank you for what you're doing for baseball in Western PA. It's awesome. I said deep roots. I follow everything. Huge Steeler fan, obviously. Probably a little neighborhood probably gets a little upset on Sundays, when we're screaming. Two of my guys on my staff are from Pittsburgh, so we get riled up. We get riled up on Sundays for the Steeler game. So
that's right.
Gotta love it.
But amen. God bless you guys and good luck with everything.
God bless.
Thanks, man.